Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Roleplay Part 4, Atonement, the last session of the Roleplay series.
Okay, now you're live.
Good morning, everybody. It's Martine Lissa Malivers. Welcome to Wake Up, Everybody. Welcome to Roleplay Part 4, Atonement, the last session in the Roleplay series. I thank you all so much for rocking with me thus far. Facebook, good morning, good morning. And I'm tasking you with inviting people, especially men, into the space because we're closing out our session. I want to get a good balance of men and women. What do you need for this session? Pen and paper. We're going to do one short writing exercise. And also, as always, open mind, open heart, transparency, your authentic selves. Let's close this series out strong. Good morning, Abibola. Who else we have here?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, sweetness. Good morning.
Assalamu alaikum.
Name. Walaikum salam. Good morning, John Carl. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Naomi.
Great morning, Martine and the Wolf family. Great morning, Grand Rising all.
Good morning. I'm currently sending out wake that ass up texts with the Zoom link to the series. For the session. So come on, join me. Let's get people in the space.
You did not just say that, Martine, did you?
I did. You already know who you're dealing with. I'm on my third wake that ass up text. I'm texting all of you. They're not gonna be able to say I overslept.
Well, I woke up my people, that's all.
Yes. Fellas, where y'all at? Who was in here? I see John Carl. Sam. Thank you for being here, Sam. Okay, I don't have to send a wake that ass up text to him.
Nah, I'm here. I'm in it.
Terry's my big bro. Good morning. Terry doesn't want to speak. He's like, his morning voice is just too sexy for y'all. All right, let's see. We have Marquise. I'm hitting them up. Is Tisha in this space or did she give up? She said she was in the waiting room. Taisha Alexander, are you here? Let me text her. She was too early.
Terry can't answer you because he said he's getting his shave on.
Morning.
Okay, Terry. OG Adam, what up? Good morning.
What up, Martine? How you doing this morning?
I'm all right. Who'd you bring with you, Adam?
Just myself.
Come on, Adam. You could text one person. See if you get one person on.
Sure, I'll try.
Okay.
We know you can do it, Adam.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. transforming together, together.
All right, I was trying to see how many I could get in before the alarm goes off. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Martine Lissa Malivers here. Martine Lissa Malivers, AKA the Change Maker. How's everybody doing this morning? I need y'all up, up, up and at 'em. How are y'all? Let me see who we have in this space.
I'm doing okay.
All right, I like okay. Okay is good. I'll take it. All right, let me see, Sam. Good morning, Marilyn. Good morning, Louise. Good morning, Zakia. Good morning, Brandon. Where's my crew? All right, y'all. I need y'all to get on your phones, copy the Zoom link, type wake that ass up, exclamation point, bomb. Put the Zoom link in and hit send so we can get some more people in here. I think everybody knows who I am, but just in case somebody new in here that I missed, welcome, welcome. My name is Martine Lissa Malivers. I'm a research nurse out here in Houston, Texas. I work for the #1 heart center in the nation 6 years in a row, the #2 children's hospital, and I'm also a child sexual abuse prevention educator. That is actually my passion. In 2011, I founded a nonprofit called Touch the Rebellion, and we aim to make the public aware of the prevalence of child sexual abuse in all communities and teach preventative measures against it. That is like, I don't want to say my primary goal, but it's my primary goal for right now. And I have sessions like this and people are like, how does it coincide? I mean, I can talk about anything on WOO, but it all really does come together because the stronger our family units are, the less child sexual abuse there will be. And we have a lot of single parenthood and broken homes, and those are major risk factors for child sexual abuse. So I'm trying to mend that and, just save our families in general, because divorce in America is high, single parenthood is high, and that's not necessarily to say single parenthood is a bad thing, but the children of single parents usually suffer more than children in two-parent households. Is just a fact. It may not be your specific household. I like to tell people, let's not focus on the exceptions. That's a wonderful thing if you're holding it down. Maybe you're co-parenting wonderfully, but that's not the majority of what we see in America, allegedly, according to the statistics. I want to start off by thanking you all for supporting me these past few weeks and seeing the role play series through. I know some of you have made major sacrifices to wake up early and giving us just sexy, sultry morning voices. I know it's early, especially if you're on Central Time like me, but it's a morning show. So it's supposed to be early. That's just like, out here there's, can't remember what they call, but like the Breakfast Club. They start at like 5 or 6. So it's a morning show. Wake up, wake up. You can listen to it while you're getting ready for work, on your way to work, at work. If you can't, talk, just listen in. I thank you all for co-creating with me, for being transparent and vulnerable and maintaining a safe space here. We have a lot of varied ideas, opinions, and beliefs, but I feel like it's a safe and respectful space for the most part. And if we fall short, we always bounce back. I want to especially thank Shawnee Benton Gibson for listening to the call to even create the space and allowing us to have an active and instrumental voice in it. This program has literally changed my life, and I really want everyone who does not subscribe to it regularly to do so. So admin, I'm gonna do something a little different. Don't be mad at me. Can y'all drop the registration link in the Facebook page in the chat? Because I want y'all right now, because y'all be like, by the end of the session, you're ready to go, or a lot of you have had to go. Right now, if you've gotten anything out of WOO and you are not a regular subscriber, consider subscribing. Okay, you'll get, it's not harassment, I promise you. You'll get a weekly email that lets you know what facilitators are coming up. And if you join the Facebook group, you don't have to wake up early, because guess what? You can watch the playbacks. Okay. So again, my name is Martine Lissa Malivers, and my purpose is to gain consensus in identifying toxic and cultural norms and replacing them with new and healthy norms through creative and engaging programming, such as WOO, such as Wake Up Everybody, we call it WOO for short, for the betterment of society. Today's session is entitled Role Play Part 4, Atonement. And what I hope to get out of today's session is the men and women of the woo space making atonement for any pain inflicted by simply taking accountability, forgiving, and vowing to do better. Are y'all with me? Head count, how many people do we have now? Are y'all texting? Oh,
Yes, ma'am, we're with you.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay, so we can move on to that next slide. If you guys see me looking down at my phone, I'm serious about this mission. I'm waking up my people who's supposed to be here. Okay, so as with all my other sessions, I always have this slide that's shared where I identify, where I share with you a toxic norm that I identified. That would be on the left side of the screen. Bear with me, y'all. I just lost my screen. And on the right side is the change I would like to see. So the toxic norm that we've been addressing in this series is gender-based roles have superseded the unique talents of the individual and driven societal standards that hinder potentiality and self-actualization. And the change I would like to see is flexibility in roles imposed by society to accommodate for individuality, changing situations, and that reward all and compensate all equally. Now that's a mouthful for those of you who are not here. I simply mean that things should be based on our individual strengths as opposed to our gender, within limits. If we're fighting, for instance, that the transgender swimmer from swimming against women, we do have to respect that naturally, innately, there are things that men do better than women and women do better than men, right? And then also too, I know a lot of people still subscribe to a traditional household where the man is the head of the household. I'm just asking for flexibility based on situations, changing situations, and also individuality, because there's some women who can lead households great and men who are horrible at it. And I think they should get together because they could balance each other out. But sometimes that doesn't happen because of these strict boundaries we set on gender. So that's all that means. Last week we talked about many issues at the societal level that men and women are having with each other. I played you guys some videos, you guys reacted to it. We talked about the many undue pressures placed on men and how they're sometimes ridiculed and disrespected for showing emotion. So today I really, really want to hear from the men. I say that every session and I feel like that's an objective that wasn't fulfilled, right? And I think even Kevin said it. I also have the chats from last week because I never get to see everything in the chat. There's so many shares. You guys have been so open that we don't always get to the chat. So there's a lot. I want to bring the chat into the conversation this session as well. So the first thing that I want to do, you can go on to the next slide. We're going to do a writing exercise. I want you guys to tell me how you feel about this image, how it makes you feel, and if you think it's an accurate depiction. Let me know. So let's take about 3 minutes. Can you time for me, admin?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So starting now, let's take about 3 minutes. And just let me know how this makes you feel and if you think it's accurate. Z says 3 minutes is a long time. I'm like, are you guys timing? 3 minutes is not up yet.
A minute and 15 seconds.
The woman is putting him together. That never cease to amaze me. All right. I want to hear from the men. Let me have Sam, John Carl, Terry, if you can come off mute. Ooh, where my boys at? Jimmy. While they getting everybody together, Harlan, I want to hear from you too. Hey nephew, thank you for coming. John Carl.
Yes, yes. How do I feel about that image? What do I
Yes.
think of it?
Yeah, what do you see?
First thing I said to myself, not taking that serious. Then I said, let me try to look at it from another perspective of the world. So I said, okay, a woman breaking a man. Okay, it's not possible depending on the man. And if you think of that psychologically, a woman breaking a man, you know, man feel broken by a woman, feeling impacted by whatever he may be going through. And that's the image. Because I look at it from a man's point of view, not, you know, how the woman feel, but pretty much how that image reflects on me as a man. And still don't take it seriously, but I can see what it supposedly represents to me. And it's a woman breaking a man, but from my point of view, it's impossible. And physically it's impossible. But as far as character, personality, I can see how some men can feel that way. I can say that because I've seen it in marriage couples being divorced. I've even seen it in my younger years when, in the teenage years. A matter of fact, I was heartbroken once, and it probably felt like that. I'm glad I was able to talk through this to get to where the perspective really comes from. I'm complete.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jimmy.
Microphone check. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we hear you, brother.
All right. Look, I'm looking at this this picture. It depicts everything that's really going on. Yes, a woman. No, I'm teasing. I ain't gonna say it. But there are guys who believe that, you know, a woman tearing up a man in half, and because I see that this is the thing, a trend that's going on. There's a lot of guys who really got hatred for women, you know, in a relationship aspect. They feel that the woman holds like the if the relationship is not working is because of her, you know, and she did this, she did that. Ah, man, I can't subscribe to that, you know. Um, I am the guy who believes if you find in a relationship or in a family that the family is not structured or there's a problem in the family, the head of the household, you got to check him out because you got to check to see if his thing is in order or if not. Now, granted, I have seen some guys in my circle where the woman did beat the guy up. And these are women who are like tough skinned and they're, you know, Caribbean women with the spicy mouth and, you know, just, you know, beating the just beating the guys up, you know. Now that's not all the women, you know, but there's certain particular women. And this particular guy, he's like a soft guy and he allows it. So is it because of him that it's going that way and that he allows the women to tear him apart? Or maybe if
Okay.
he would have put his foot down, you know?
Okay, your shares are surprising me a little bit, and I think because you're not broadening the possibilities. Let's say, let's see what Harlan says. What's up, nephew?
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So my thought is, I mean, first and foremost, a picture says 1,000 words. So there's a lot of things that comes about or to thought when I look at that picture. But I can say from my case here, what I see here is that, I guess in the sense where choosing the wrong partner can evidently destroy your life, right? So I heard, my apologies, the young man that spoke earlier how that a woman shouldn't deter your life away, in a sense, shouldn't break you down, but a woman could build your life up, but also bring you down as well too. And to piggyback what Jimmy said as well too, is that it does depend on the individual itself as far as the man, if he allow it. But if that man has, let's say that man doesn't know their strength of who they are, and that woman is their dependent in that sense, it can take as far as how they live their life in that sense. So if they choose the wrong woman, and especially if all the other stuff that comes to play, could turn out to what that picture is. So I'm complete.
Okay. I want you to broaden your perspective a little bit. And I know that you said that you could relate to it personally, but what about things that are going on in society?
No, I'm not saying I can relate first. I don't know about that. I'm saying that in my
Here we
thought
go.
process. I can't
Okay.
relate first.
But on the societal level, do you have anything to add?
Now that I'm thinking about it now, yeah, I think, I mean, what comes to thought is maybe because society has men being seen in a certain way, and especially in this day and age where the kind of gender roles and all these other things are completely different. And I think maybe in a way of a man overworking himself in order to please a woman, to please multiple women or a woman per se. So it could be in result to that why he's split in half. So.
All right, thank you, nephew. Sam, where are you? You not talking today?
I'm here. When I first saw that, I thought it was hilarious, to be honest with you. I thought it was like, oh, it's just another day in the life of being a man. It's just another day.
Tell us why you feel that way. No. Tell us why you feel that way.
Because, I mean, in the role of being a man or even a leader, you kind of have to put yourself in a position to where you're vulnerable, like essentially vulnerable in the sense of taking the L for the team, you know, whether you're necessarily in the wrong or not. You're the leader, so you're wrong. At the same time, I also thought about like this is also kind of related to the position that men are put in the sense of like, you know, always having to take criticisms, always having to essentially take that tongue lashing, or even honestly speaking, sometimes domestic violence. Truth be told, I have been in situations where one was beating on me for a while and I decided I had to dip out because it wasn't like, you know, in like a long going situation, but the moment she put her hands on me, I was like, okay, you clearly feel like you're in a position to do this and you're comfortable with it, so you're not gonna stop, so I'm gonna have to leave. These things happen, you know, it's real. At the same time, you know, men don't typically speak up on it. I know, like, it's probably my first time ever talking about it, like, to anybody, really. But yeah, that picture in itself really just speaks to me that, you know, women may not be able to physically do that, but on either a mental, spiritual, or even on like a societal level, yeah, on a regular basis, men are being torn apart, ripped apart, and this is what it is, you know, but just accept it. I mean, I just think that is like another day in the life. Nothing new.
Okay, thank you, Sam. And especially because I think the natural reaction is to say, nah, that's not gonna happen to me. Haha, that's funny. But it is something that happens on the daily, and you're right, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So thank you for your share. So I have some people in the chat, admin, who are asking us to bring the picture back up. So let's bring it back up. And then I want to hear from Quasi and did Jay leave? Where did Jay go? Jay, are you still in the space? He left, I think. So this is the image. So Quasi, I think you just landed in the space. What we were doing is expressing what we think of the image and if we think it's an accurate depiction. How does it make you feel also? Quasi, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, off the rip, it looks crazy. I don't know the context, but wow. I don't know what's happening there. But it seems like this man is a bit torn. And it seems like it's the woman that's tearing him apart. If I had to buy into the message, I know for me, in my experience, that triggers for me is this this idea that I can't really be my full self with my woman. And, I just even recently seen something the other day where somebody said, when a man can't be appreciated in the way that he wants to be in his relationship, he shows up as a version of himself that can survive the relationship just to get by every day. And I know I've been in relationships with women where, they were great people. And I feel like I'm a pretty good person. But because we weren't connecting in the way that I needed, I just felt like I just had to show up and shut up to kind of get through every day, and I realized I did nobody no favors because on one hand, I'm acting like I'm doing this honorable thing. Like, okay, well, I'm showing up for this person and it's not really serving me 100% emotionally. I don't necessarily feel fully appreciated, not necessarily for nobody's fault. But with that, I'm thinking I'm doing this real noble thing by sticking around, but really I'm just creating so much resentment that every little thing that this person does, it just drives me crazy. And what ends up happening was we were both really good people. We're both people that everybody holds in high esteem, but we didn't even appreciate each other. And we had nothing nice to say about each other. And that sucked because I'm like, I'm a good person. Like people like me, like I got things going on, but you don't seem to notice that. And vice versa. She's a great person. She got things going on and I couldn't appreciate it either. So when I see that image, it just reminded me of that because that was pretty fresh for me. It's just this feeling like, yeah, when I'm here, I'm not whole. If I'm with other people or if I'm by myself even, I feel a little bit more whole. But sometimes I guess with the masculine and feminine energy trying to come together and I'm not understanding things fully and she not understanding fully. And we're not experts in communication. We just people, you know what I'm saying? So even if I feel something, don't mean I can articulate it extra well, especially not to the person I need to articulate it to. Those feelings were coming up. So when I see that, I'm like, ooh, I'm sure it can be the same way, but for me and my lived experience, that photo definitely resonates.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your transparency. Brandon.
Good morning, family. So this picture, I was listening, and it does two things for me. Oh, wait, let me come off of mute.
While you're coming off of mute, I want to note something that Quasi said. He said, I feel whole on the outside, but I don't feel whole when I'm here, right? And that's what he gathered. So you don't feel whole as a result of a woman breaking you apart. So, because we want to hear from you today, brothers. This is a safe space. We're trying to be transparent. Go ahead, Brendan.
So, two perspectives came up for me for this picture. My initial reaction was, this is the typical of life where people lift us up and then break us apart. So that was my first perspective, and it's based up out of my own experiences as a father, as a Black man living in America. That's just been my experience. But then on another perspective, if I look at it, I can see that the woman can be an agent of healing. I think someone earlier said it's important to pick the right partner, because one perspective you could look at this and see that this is a woman that's pulling a man apart, or this could be a woman who's picking up the broken pieces of a man whose society and just life has just beat his ass and caused him to fall apart. And this could be that partner that's coming along to help to put those pieces back together. So I think the perspective is key, but it could go either way depending on the mindset of the people.
Thank you, Brandon. Admin, if you can fish through the chat, and ladies, I don't know if you were responding in the chat, but let's gain some perspective from the ladies. So if you just put in the chat what you see, and at the same time, Admin, can you bring up the next slide? And Rachel, stay right there.
Martine, I could juggle, but the way that what you just had asked me to do was to share the chat, pull up the slide, and I don't even know what else you said.
Okay, pull up the slide. Because the chat is going to take you a while, I think, to comb through to identify the women's. Yeah, but you're right. The way that I gave out those instructions was a little crazy. My bad. I thought you had 4 arms, Kiyofu.
I bet.
Shout out to the admins. They work so hard. Okay, so here's another image that I just want to add on to whatever you guys are already thinking. And while admin is going through the chat, I want to share my interpretation of the first image and this image. We ask too much of our men, knowing that they cannot deliver, knowing that they cannot. We disrespect our men. We have no respect for our men. We are tired of our men. We attract the men that meet us where we are. And then as we grow in one sense or not, and not in another sense, we label all men or most men as the same, failing to see that we are who we attract. We want him to pay all of our bills, even though our bills exceed his income, and we know we can pay them ourselves. And we're exerting our new power over him. The oppressed has become the oppressor. And again, I say from last session that this is a trauma response. And one of the questions that was not answered from last session is, what was the traumatic event that evoked this trauma response? So I want you guys to marinate on that as well. Kiyofu, you have anything for me?
Martine. So I'm only able to read the chat. Well, that's not true, but it's easy for me to read the chat from my phone, so I'll do that. All right. And so Catherine Sweetness says the woman putting him together, he is torn in the middle, his 2 heads are not connected. Chantel says it's giving snapped vibes. Catherine does say it's possible, it's very possible to break a man in half. I don't know why Chantel put the saw up there. I'm not talking to her right now. So Joy says a woman carrying a broken man. Chantel says it's about perspective. She can be putting this man back together and healing him or tearing him apart. And Catherine says the woman in the workforce handling her business in and outside the home. Quasi says, what up, though? Grand Rising. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, that's enough for now. I want to bring in some of the chat from last session. And is Louise in the space? So last session, I played that video and a lot of
you said it's Louise in the space?
Yes.
Oh, I'm here. I'm just getting dressed.
Okay, that's fine. Just keep your voice right there because I'm going to read your comment. This was after the video of the young lady who, I don't know, everybody hears what they want to hear, but what I heard is that she is tired of the imbalance that she's experiencing. She definitely was generalizing. She was saying that she does not want to get married because if getting married is having to be a slave to a man. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want to pick up dirty socks. She doesn't want to do a whole bunch of things. And Louise, despite what everybody else said in the comments, you stood your ground and you said, I love her perspective. Do you remember that?
I surely do.
All right, talk about it.
So I know that a lot of people disagreed with her, but I think people got triggered by certain things which she said and not other things. Because she said, why can't we both bring things to the table? She said a lot of other things, and I listened to her fully without trying to just get stuck on maybe a part that I didn't agree with. And when she was just like, I'm tired. Sometimes I don't want to come home after working all day and still have to cook. Why don't you cook too? What I got out of it, that she was just very frustrated with the gender roles that sticks her in. I got to do all of this plus cook, right? Why can't we meet together and be like, look, I'm tired today. You cook or I cook. That's what I got the majority out from her. And I siphoned out the other little stuff because I felt she was venting. So
thank you. And I agree. And that speaks to also for her, needing to maybe assess who she's attracting. But we don't want to take away from her experience because a lot of women do go through that. On Facebook, it was a little debate too. Barbara Dominique, she said what she seemed to be saying is that she wants to be a partner with her man and not his slave. And then Adam had said, if you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, you will never get along with anyone. The enemy within is real. And I agree with that. So I want to hear from Rachel. I want to hear from Marilyn too, because you had your hand up. And let me just give you guys a little context. So that first image, I was looking for an image that represented emasculate. Rachel, we always hear girl.
Yes. Because what came up for me was what I'm learning today still. And something that I'm learning is that being so independent for so long and doing things, I have learned, right? Because I don't like to say we. I have learned that sometimes that's doing my man, a disservice, right? And possibly could be breaking him, me not even knowing, right? So it's unintentional. I'm holding my man up because I put him on a pedestal, but I'm breaking him because I'm so independent and I'm not allowing him to be the man he wants to be. So it's not intentional. It's coming from the inside of not really knowing, never meeting, never having a real relationship with a man. So never gets disrespectful on my page, but meaning just 19 bags out the bag. I got one here, one on my pinky. And he's like, give me the bags. And I'm like, nah, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. Everything Rachel got it. So when you said something about on the other page where you said we, that's not me. Right? I don't expect a man to carry all my weight. I don't even know how to accept a man carrying all my weight. I wish I did, but unfortunately I don't. And I don't think I ever want to, right? But at the same time, it's all unintentional for me. If I'm hurting the man I'm with right now, it's because I'm still learning how to accept a man. And, complete.
Thank you. And when I say we, Woo family, I mean society. So it doesn't necessarily have to be me. Like I'm taking accountability, because if we generalize everything to our own experience in this conversation, we're not going to get anywhere. We have to consider how society views us and other people's experiences. So that's why I said we, because I feel like as a whole, outside in society, and this is all races, we are disrespecting our men. Especially, I feel like the better we're doing as women and the more independence we're gaining, that's showing up more. But of course, it is a result of the oppressed becoming the oppressors. That's just my opinion, but just so that you guys know what I mean when I say we. Thank you so much, Rachel. And you know what I loved about your share is another thing I didn't notice is you said that the man is being lifted up. So he's being put, our thinking is he's being put on a pedestal, but meanwhile, we're unknowingly breaking him in half. I really, really love that aspect of your share. Thank you. Marilyn, do you still want to speak?
Good morning, and sure.
Morning.
I was looking forward to today's session, as always. So looking at that image, it kind of got me reflecting on myself, my inner thought. And if I could add on to that image, I would have put like this thought bubble around the man being held, because for me, it felt like my inner thought, like what I go through with my spouse. I am very, very lean back, very quiet, kind of hold things in. And there's things within my marriage that, yes, the gender role always affects. And it gets to a point where I feel like, oh, like, you know, I need your help. I need your help. And little by little, I've kind of been voicing it, but not in an aggressive or hard tone. He's just been noticing also that I've been breaking down. I have so much piled up on me, being a full-time teacher, going to school full-time, being a full-time wife. He's diabetic. So his disease is like piled up on me because I make sure that he goes to his appointments, he eats right, takes his insulin, I pack his lunch for work. I'm up at 3:30 in the morning just to help him get ready for work. So it's like, for me, I feel so much piled on that in my mindset, I'm like, come on, like, you know, he works a lot. But when it comes to the household, I kind of want him to put as much work into the household that he does at his job. And it gets to a point where like, I feel like just like I want to break him apart and just tell him like, listen, you know, let's do this together. Let's help me, you know, but I don't have the voice.
We lost you, Marilyn. Oh, you muted by mistake.
Sorry. Okay, I'm right there. So I was like, it's not that I don't have the power. I just don't. I try to tell him in a good way because I know that his past relationships weren't the best. I know that when growing up, I mean, he and I were Puerto Rican. He has that macho mentality, and he grew up like that. And he even tells me himself, you know, he apologized. He's always apologizing. He's always, you know, trying to be as affectionate as he could be. And he always tells me, you know, growing up, he was never taught how to treat a woman. He was never taught, you know, what was the expectation of what a marriage is supposed to be, because he's going based on what he saw in his household. So when he tells me things like that, that's why I kind of like, okay, kind of hold my tongue a little. Like, let me just tell him in a different way so it doesn't seem like I'm nagging him. And I tell him like, oh, I'm really tired today, you know, and I tell him this and this happened. And he's like, okay, you know what, we'll order out. You don't have to cook. And, you know, little by little, we kind of been teaching each other how to build this bridge together. So when I saw that image, it was just me, my inner thought, you know, what I think, like, okay, you know, sometimes a woman feels like I need to get through to you, but sometimes I can't. I got to figure out a way, and I'm complete.
And you probably have he probably could relate to that, you know, because like Rachel said, sometimes we unconsciously do it. But one thing I want to share with you is something my mother shared with me. And my dad is super, let's just say that my mom is proud that if something was to happen to her, my dad could take care of himself. And that's one thing that she is really, really, really big on. She's traditional. She cooks for him. She makes sure that he gets to his doctors, all that kind of stuff. But there's days like where they switch roles and she's like, let me see if you can do this by yourself, and vice versa. She gets out and pulls the trash out because, you know, I think that that's something that we weren't taught. And again, that's my goal, right? Flexibility in the gender roles. So maybe I'm thinking about what my mom would say to you, and you said you're already doing it, because honestly, in my opinion, and you'll see from statistics I'm about to show, you have the typical situation. This is a major issue in America, and I'm glad to hear that you're communicating. But one thing I know my mother would tell you is give him some days where he's managing, especially his disease, by himself, because God forbid anything could happen to you, anything. And he may have to take care of you, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your share. All right,
Thank you.
Quasi, we're gonna keep it short and sweet, guys. All right, Quasi, what's up?
Okay, for sure, for sure. So I was gonna say it's nice to hear like all the women be like accountable about where they could have did better and things like that. I know I have a lot of accountability too, from just as the man in the relationship. You know, I was with someone who didn't really trust me to hold the weight, and that really did bother me. But then when I thought about it in retrospect, I was wondering if I really showed up to deserve it. You know, like if I actually gave her the trust to feel like she could let go. And I think in the later years, I did, but, you know, I realized too, when you're with somebody for multiple years, you know, it's hard to let go of the old version of that person, the version of you that messed up, that didn't have all the information, and trying to let that trauma go. So it got to a point where I was like, yeah, it's almost feel better to start over, because like you can't unsee what you had saw in year 1, even if you in year 8, and that takes a lot of work. Last thing I'll say is too is it also became easier to lift the physical bags, you know, and in turn, but I still wasn't lifting the emotional bags. And like a lot of my homies will like they'll do the typical male support. They'll say they picking up the kids, they driving around, X, Y, and Z, but they not checking in on their lady's emotional state. So it's, you know, when it came to the emotional lifting, when my partner actually needed something emotional, I just revert back to that more typical masculine. Like, yo, just deal with it. Just like get through it. Just push through it. I didn't really want to take the time to be soft and tender in the ways that kind of strength was going to be needed. And then, you know, it's kind of hard to love someone who loves you if you don't really love yourself, is how I feel. So when this person is supporting me and bigging me up, I think someone was saying that earlier, but I don't feel that same self-esteem. I'm like, if you love me and I feel like shit, then you must not be shit either. And then as a result, it's hard to respect the love, and that's not fair to the woman either. So I think there's still, like, you know, I'm always big on it's on me, it's not on nobody else. So, I mean, it's nice to hear the ladies, but that's like most of my guy friends, it's on them for real. Like, yeah, it's kind of easy to mow the lawn. It's hard to have a conversation about feelings, and I think that's where most of the men in my life, we could all do a little bit more work in terms of like the actual lifting.
Thank you so much, Quasi. Ooh, that was, first of all, I hope you women are listening, because what he described is a hopeless situation where you're loving on somebody and they don't love themselves, and look at what their reaction is. You need to get out of that situation. And sometimes we stick around too long, and then we take that baggage from that relationship into the next relationship. Another thing about your share, it is the point of this session today, atonement. Yes, I want you guys to open up more and know that this is a safe space, because that's what we're here to do, is to take accountability, forgive, and move forward. What I want y'all to think, because I said it, Quasi said it, a couple of people said it, but there's so much we're not taught, and it takes us years to catch up and learn. What can we do about that? Drop that in the chat. Aside from forums like this, what can we do about that? Brandon, let me hear from you.
Firstly, I want to appreciate Quasi for that share. It helps me just in terms of what my thought process. But what as I was listening to the ladies share, and even with the men earlier, what I kept picking up is that sometimes we come into relationships as that broken image already. And so I think being able to take that well, firstly, have that awareness that coming into the relationship, there's some broken pieces that, like was just dropped in the chat, therapy is important. It's key. My personal experience with my daughter's mom, I needed to go to therapy after that before I could even entertain another relationship. I knew that, but did I do that? No. I went into another relationship broken, and expected my partner to be able to understand my brokenness, that I wasn't even in a position to communicate, to know how to communicate. even the thought around communicating the issues I was dealing with was traumatizing on top of the trauma that I was dealing with. So it's like coming in with these broken pieces, expecting the other person to be able to meet me where I am, to fix me, and then not even having the awareness that they may be broken. So here it is, you got two broken people trying to fix each other, and it never really kind of balances out. And so like Wazi said, we don't appreciate each other, or we don't respect the love, because we're like, how can you love me and I'm broken, and I know I'm broken and you probably broken too. So I think just having that awareness that sometimes we come to those relationships broken, and then we put those the responsibilities on our partner to heal us when they may have their issues. So I think having that awareness of self is important.
Yeah, yeah. Self-awareness, self-love, self-care, therapy. I'm so happy to see this nation normalizing therapy. But I want to say this before I forget, because I really was going to bring it up in the end. But we also need to teach how to choose a therapist, because that can be a very daunting task. Sometimes you have to go through 10 before you get to one that aligns with your beliefs, that you just can actually connect with and build that rapport in order to release. So anybody out there who's frustrated, please keep trying, because it really is so important. But I think that we make it seem like, oh, you call this therapist, you set an appointment, and you will be forever changed for the better. But it's not that way. It's kind of like when you're put on psychiatric meds too. You may have to go through different cocktails until one that really works for you and your individual needs and your biochemistry. So please consider that, y'all, because it really, really, really can be discouraging. But I'm really, really glad to see where therapy is going.
Martine,
Mhm.
one other thing I that just thought that just with this whole concept of therapy is that it's also important to know that when we change and we evolve, when we heal, that our relationships also change. And so that goes from not just our relationships with our partners, just friends, family, work dynamic, all those dynamics change. And so being able to articulate, hey, listen, I'm going through this healing process. Because some people might say, yo, you acting brand new. Like, we used to always kick it. You was never so forgiving and loving and kind. They'll hold you into the box where you used to be. So I think also having that awareness that those dynamics will change. And even when you're with your partner, let's say you're getting that help, you're getting that therapy, and something real, you come to that realization that, you know what, you're actually not good for me. So there is those moments where therapy is going to tell you you should probably leave that person, or that this dynamic is not good for you right now. So being able to make those tough decisions is also important, a part of that healing process. And I'm complete.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, ladies, keep your hands right there. I just want to make sure we're moving on. It's 7:57 Eastern, 6:57 Central. I know some of you have to go. If that is the case, thank you so much for being with us. Drop those links again. Register, join the Facebook page, because you can, watch the playback when it's available. So please, especially the men, we need the men showing up in this community regularly. Please join us again for all the newbies and anybody who needs to leave. So last time I gave you guys some homework. I don't know if you did it. I asked for us to come up with a meaning for the divine feminine. I had read that piece, and it was about the divine feminine, and I wanted you guys to come up with it. For those of you who are not here for that piece, I'm just going to sum it up. So this is a feminist who wrote this. This is the end of her piece. When more of us do, we realize that fatherhood is integral. Images of strong Black men are fundamental in the rebuilding of our Black families, our boys and our men. And let's say this is from the Black perspective, but this is an everybody problem. So let me take Black out. Our families, right? White people have these issues too. We think their lives are so perfect, but it's not. So let me read that again. Images of strong men are fundamental in the rebuilding of our families. Our boys and our men have to know how essential they are in our lives. Walking in our divine feminine requires a divine masculine counterpart, right? Can't be feminine without masculine. a respect for the balance of the synergy between the two. The moment we as women understand the true power in our feminine reaches far past our vagina and sexual prowess, we can walk in the power that will rebuild and revitalize our families. What is this thing they are talking about? The divine feminine. I want y'all to think about that and raise your hand for anybody who did the homework or who has an aha moment or who just naturally knows. Because I know I sure don't. This is something that I struggle with, the divine feminine. Rachel.
This was a response to what, as far as solution based for what do we do for our young men that are showing up without the knowing how to be emotional. So for me, right, I go back to me, raising my son, I raised him, you can't speak in the house, my word is law. Man up, don't cry. And then when the man showed up that way for me, right, I was like, well, where's his emotions? Well, as a parent, I was teaching my son how to be a certain way. And then that man showed up in a man way. And I couldn't relate to him being a man because he wasn't giving me the emotional support that I needed. But that's how I raised my son to be a man, because that's what I recognized as a man. And that's what I accepted as a man as well. So for me, it's like the solution I always think about is as parents and as women, we have to normalize emotions in boys, in young boys. We have to, I had to learn how to allow my son to have a voice in my home, because it was like, I'm talking, shut your mouth. You get what I mean? So when you're speaking and you got to shut your mouth, you learn to just suppress all those feelings and they come out in different ways, or they don't come out at all. And that shows up in different areas of your life. So my thing is, as a parent, I had to learn how to be a little less, like a little more open to my son being a boy and not a man. And I am complete.
Thank you. Thank you. And we're going to get to that in a second. So fellas, the piece that I just read, your perception of the divine feminine. What do you feel about what I just read? Holland, talk to me, nephew. Like, damn, she put me on the spot.
He definitely did. My fault, I wasn't paying attention.
All right, somebody who was paying attention. The divine feminine. Jimmy.
Divine feminine. I guess she's the ultimate feminine who's not afraid of her position in be it relationship or just walking life. You know, she's strong at where she stands. You know, she knows she's not a slave. If she's doing a task, she's doing it because it keeps order in her circle. Same thing when in the relationship. She's not afraid to do a certain task and know her position. She knows it doesn't make her a slave, and she's not worried about what other people are saying, and she knows that her position is powerful. It plays a powerful impact. So
what does that do for you? What does all that do for you?
Good, thank you. Because what that does is empower the man as well. Now, if the man is smart and he's open-minded and his eyes is open, he sees the position of that divine woman, be it a wife, sister, mother. He sees what she's bringing to the table, and he honors that. You know, this is a well-rounded man. He's going to understand that. But if a man who's not well-rounded and doesn't understand, he's going to think, oh, I'm the man of the house. She's doing her job. She's doing her position. No, she's bringing something to the table. It's love, it's sacrifice, and all that thing. So you need to see that and understand that and put that in perspective. Because in my house, when as I was growing up, there was a point in time at home. I was maybe in my 20s. I was still at home. And my mom would come to my mother in my house, in my room, and clean up my room. And she did that to all of them. Again, my sister was 6 years younger than me. I can understand she doing that for my sister. And my brother, but my brother's 3 years younger. So she would come to my room, clean my room, and I told Mom, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do that anymore. I got this. I'm good. But, being the mother that she is, she kept on. She kept on. So I told her stop. So finally she did, and I took over. But my brother, on the other hand, he allows her to continue. He doesn't have the eyes to see what she's doing and to understand that, okay, she doesn't have to do that anymore. You need to pick up your feet and do your part. So outside, there's a lot of people that in that, and it plays the same role. You have a woman who's gifted, and she brings everything to the table. She's doing her part, and then the guy doesn't see it. You know what I'm saying? Be it maybe he's busy doing his profession or whatever it is, or he's just plain ignorant.
Okay.
And so,
All right, let me stop you because I want to stay on track with the question. So I want to hear from, thank you, Jimmy, first of all. I want to hear from Khalif. Khalif, can you speak? Khalif,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And then after Khalif, please answer the call, ladies. I want to hear from Sister and I want to hear from Amber. Okay. And there's a reason why I'm choosing you two in particular. What is the divine feminine? What does that mean? What does that mean to you? And can the divine feminine save the family? Go ahead, Khalif.
In my opinion, the defined feminine is a woman who understands that she is the matriarch of her family, that the decisions that are being made are truly being made through her lens. Even though the man is there and the man is the leader of his castle, most men that I know who've been in a long-term relationship married will always tell you, my wife runs the house. And the reason why they say that is because she does. Every decision that needs to be made is filtered through her. If she's truly his equal in a divine entity, he looks for her for the support that she provides. And he's not going to make a move without her. That, in my opinion, is divine feminine energy.
Can it save the family?
Absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely. It can save the family, but the family structure has to be learned on both sides. A lot of people come from broken homes. A lot of people don't understand what it means to have both parents in the house. So they don't see what a woman's role is and what a man's role is truly. Me personally, I was raised as a Muslim and my mother submitted to my father. And my sisters had a problem with that when they were younger. And when I would speak to my mother about, well, why were you doing this for him? Why are you always bringing his food and this, that, and the third? The power that she told me submission has outweighed anything, because true submission comes from both sides. A man has to submit equally to his wife, as well as she is submitting to him. And when you can be vulnerable like that, that's how relationships and family structures are being saved.
Okay.
It's through honestly being vulnerable and being built up by each other.
Interesting. I don't know if you fellas ever viewed it like that, or if you ever thought about submitting to a woman. Amber, can I hear from you? Amber not messing with me.
So Amber did send a message to Drew John in the chat, so maybe she can't speak.
Okay.
So she says, everybody has both feminine and masculine energy within them. So the talk about the divine feminine is relating to women only, but men should acknowledge their divine feminine energy, tap into their emotions, etc., and the whole world would be a better place.
Interesting.
There's some other comments in the chat about the divine feminine. Would you like to hear them?
Absolutely.
All right. So Angele says the divine feminine is the reflection of eternal high vibrational energy that creates the universe. She's healing, she's light, she's power, she is compassion. She is the foundation for the family in a way that if the woman isn't grounded, none of us are. And Shawnee says the divine feminine is not relegated to gender or even being human. It is a concept, a vibration and energy that transcends our fleshy existence. It lives in the universe and can be demonstrated by how we speak, live, interact with others, etc. All living things possess both masculine and feminine energy and divinity.
Quasi says, I think feminine/masculine labels only take us so far anyway. If I express sadness, am I tapping into my feminine side because it is emotion? Rage is emotion, but do we call that feminine? Anybody want to answer, Quasi? Because I know I sure can't.
I'm here.
Shawnee says rage is masculine.
I'm sorry. Let me just correct myself. Action-oriented things are considered masculine. Eternal things, if you sit and meditate, it's feminine. If you work on your job, move it, and I'm going to keep it as basic as I can. If you're moving widgets at the factory, moving one piece to another part of the factory on a conveyor belt, that's masculine. We get the gender roles that we've created that are based on these false paradigms mixed up with masculine and feminine energy, and that's where we go wrong. So once again, action or oriented things are considered masculine. Movement. So anything like my thoughts are feminine. What I do with them, like if I take a thought and create something, that's masculine. So those are the examples that I can use right now. So Quasi, like if I internalize my rage and just sit and think like I'm rageful, I'm angry, I would say that that's masculine because it's feminine because it's internal. If I punch a wall, that's masculine. And it has nothing to do, if I punch the wall, it has nothing to do with being a man or a woman. It's the action that the individual takes. And once again, masculine and feminine lives in everything. The plants. So y'all, based on what I just said, Martine, if a plant grows or if a seed breaks open, what is that considered?
If a plant grows.
If a plant bursts out of the ground, it starts as a seed, and if it bursts through the ground, what do you think that is considered?
I mean,
masculine.
I don't know, but from what you express, masculine.
Okay. All right. So, you don't have to go along with what I'm saying, but these concepts, you can study them. If you look it up, there's lots of material on what's considered masculine and feminine. I used to teach this a lot many years ago and I stopped. And I just feel like, it would be great to start teaching it again because we keep collapsing masculine and feminine gender roles and norms and what we've been taught in this society. And a lot of it is made up with masculine and feminine divine, which is universal, spiritual, energy, vibration, but there are ways to operationalize them, manifest them in real time and space, and then we can label what they are and how these energies show up based on what we do and don't do.
Okay, thank you. And it's not that I don't agree. It's what you said. I don't know. I need to be taught. This is why I said I want to hear from you guys on this. I did have an experience where I would say femininity, the divine feminine was more focused on, but it's something that I'm really confused about. So hey, that's another session. Let's do it. Sister, will you talk to me? Sister.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
sis.
family. How art thou? Okay. Uh-oh. I can't start the video. Later. Hold on. Let me just put it together. Okay. So the question was
what is the
what,
divine feminine?
okay, so for me, the divine feminine is a circle. It's glue. It is receiving. It is healing. And I do recognize that that we all have feminine and masculine energy within us. But that in concentrated levels, it usually shows up to me, just me speaking, I'm no expert on anything, but to me, it shows up more in the female. It's balanced more in the female with the estrogen and not so much with our gender roles. I think we assume certain ways naturally, and the reason why I think that is because it's what I see when I work in like daycares with children, with small children. Like when I leave a little boy and I leave a little girl to on their own to do their thing. You do have some girls that will do some things that are considered masculine, and you do have some boys that will do some things that are considered the divine feminine. However, what I see in the majority is that most of the girls socialize, behave, and do things in a certain way, and most of the boys group together and do things in a certain way. They just do. Is what I see. I see the boys. The girls play with blocks too, but the boys play with blocks differently. Part of the boys playing with blocks includes, or should I say, the divine masculine includes building it and smashing it. Not to say that a girl wouldn't smash it, but it's just that wasn't seen as much as with the boys smashing it. They will build it and admire it. That's what I see when I work with the girls, the 3-year-olds and the 2-year-olds and the 4-year-olds. The boys will play in the kitchen
Let me
too.
stop you for a second because I
Okay.
don't want to get too far.
Okay.
And we talked about this. Well, no, I have something to ask you. There's a reason why I chose you. We talked about this before where the way kids show up in daycare could be, some of it could be nature, but it could also be nurture and conditioning, right? But the reason why I chose you is because you went through the Sacred Woman program, right?
I did.
Yes. So do you remember what you were taught about the divine feminine there? That's why I chose you and Amber. You remember? If you don't remember,
Let me see. I don't remember specifically, but it's in me, but I can't say this was what was said. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't remember this is what it said. But it's I'm sure it's part of how I breathe or what I know, just not specifically. I don't remember specifically what they said
it
about.
definitely is showing because you did pinpoint that and I think you made it a total statement, but usually it's going to show up more in the women. But for this space, and thank you, sister, in this space right now with everything that was shared, I think that if we all agree that we all have masculine and feminine energy, this wonderful thing that you guys are describing as the divine feminine, it should be tapped into by both men and women. And I do think that it can save the family unit. Admin, can you bring up the next slide?
Can I say one thing really quickly?
Sure.
I think that, part of the feminine role, I like to take it all the way back to, just having sex. Yes, there's submission from both, but I think like when a man and woman have sex together, the woman is assuming the more submissive role in the sex act, in that she has to open up herself to receive the man. She has to submit to do that. Her positions are more submissive. So there's a part of her that has to be a little softer, a little more open, a little bit more able to compromise. And I'm complete.
Okay, thank you. Admin, do we have that slide? Okay, so the other question that we didn't answer last session is, what is the role of the man? Now, this side is kind of hard to see, but it is the evolution of gender roles up until the 90s. And in the 50s, since more ladies started working, you can now have an emotional connection with your kids and actually get to know them better. So this didn't exist before the 50s, according to this. And I'm just going to read the man's side of things. I'm sorry, you are expected to, in the 50s, you are expected to be the leader of the family. You go to work, bring home the bacon, and at least show off an air of decorum. Vices, aside from cigars and a glass of alcohol, are considered unsightly, okay? That was the 50s. Then into the 60s, more ladies started to work and the men started to connect more with kids and the household. Then the 70s, you're supposed to be assertive, savvy, or objective. It tends to come in handy when you're a fit young man who's forced to be participate in wars you're not a part of. You don't even really get that. But then the 80s, now that there's a rise in female employment, you boys will end up losing a job if you can't prove you have the skills for it. So that started to show up a little bit, allegedly. And by the 90s, you're not expected to be the epitome of masculinity or to have a job or have your own saplings. Staying, you can already tell who wrote this, right? Staying at home to clean house while wifey brings the bacon is a pretty okay deal for you. We can go to the next slide. So this is showing how the gender roles have changed up until the 90s. And though they did state that your job could be at risk if you didn't know what you were doing, still, and even up until today, there's a major gap, okay? A female pay gap by education level is what this graph shows, but in general, there's a major pay gap between men and women, men being the winners on that side. So the pay gap, as you can see, if you look at blue, this is the pay gap compared to the male population. And the more educated a woman is, the larger the pay gap. So again, on a societal level, we really do have a lot of issues. And what I'm imploring you guys to do is to not only look at your situations, especially if you have a healthy balance and none of these issues are yours, but just to kind of care for you, because I mean, these things could affect your children, you know? I'm on some make the world a better place. So I want to hear thoughts on these two things. And let's go to the next slide. So while you guys are thinking. And so now up until, so what I'm about to address is up until 2020. I just want to show the slight changes because I mean, things are changing, but they're still pretty much the same. So these are not major changes. So this is showing the rise and fall of stay-at-home parenting between men and women. So we already know that women are educated, they're getting their PhDs, right? So there's less staying at home and there are more men staying at home. There are more male single parents, the primary custodial parent, because again, single parent just means that you have a child, but you're single, you're not married. So out of 70.1 million fathers living in the nation today, there are over 1.7 million single fathers. 15% of legal custodial single parents are men, 15%. 6% are legally custodial single fathers, so they went to court. 75% of single fathers have been legally divorced. 31% of fathers have never been married. 19% of fathers are separated. 9% of single fathers are separated. So out of that 19%, 9 are single fathers, and 5% of fathers are widowed. So single parenthood due to losing their spouse, male single parenthood is only at 5%. So how are y'all processing this? And how would you answer the question, what is the man's role today? Anybody?
I can answer.
Yeah.
I think a man's role today, at least for me, is to come to terms kind of with what Shani and Amber was saying, was realizing that some of that feminine energy lives inside of us, and we could use it a little bit more to be more balanced. Because right now, at least in America, most of the leaders are men. You know, it's still a male dominated country. So if we could somehow maintain our like strengthen our ego a little bit, like not let it be so fragile, and be a little bit more open to some coaching, we could be even greater. You know, I don't think nobody's trying to get rid of us, but nobody wants a shitty leader. So I think if we could tap in more to the feminine energy without losing ownership of the masculine energy, I think I've seen some positive results like that.
Yeah. And it's showing, nationwide, just by those statistics, men are taking on more roles and even jobs that were considered feminine, but at the same time too, they're getting paid more, and sometimes unfairly. So we do need to consider that as well. Sister, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say that to me, I think that the best way for a man to show up would be just with the best of everything that he has to offer, whether it be something considered socially feminine or not. If that's, as a man, just showing up with the best that you have to offer. So therefore, or even as a woman too. So therefore, if you are the better cook, if you understand numbers better, like everybody assumed the role of what they can offer to build a family better, and to know, each of us know when to submit to the other, because the other one, okay, you know what, she got this. She is far better at the calculations that I am. And in this case, maybe I might, read a story to the children while she handled that. So it's what all is best for the family and the community and society if everybody stands up and do what they have to offer and share what they have to offer to the community, and still maintain dignity and still maintain strength. And that's my piece. I'm complete.
Thank you.
Martine, do you want to, John had wanted to speak before. Do you want to bring him in now?
Sure. And I just sent you a message. John, what's up? I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand if you had it up.
John Carl? Okay, maybe he's not available now.
Okay. Can you bring up those videos? Do you have the first link on hand, the video link, not the post?
Okay, hold on.
And while she's doing that, let me ask you this, because that post was saying that the changes in these gender roles are basically detonating the traditional family structure. Where we stand now, put this in the chat, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It could be a good thing. We all know that it could be a good thing because it could bring balance, harmony, synergy. But right now, as it stands, do you think that that's a good thing? And while you're doing that, I want you guys to watch this video. Because we said we're creating a safe space for men to open up. And I want us to be very honest about our perception of this video. And Kenyofu, I'll let you know when to stop because we're not gonna watch the whole thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Van, what are your thoughts? It's well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happy to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. This is vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, the I can't breathe. You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. That was a lot of people that felt that they couldn't breathe. Every day you're waking up and you're getting these tweets and you just don't know. And you're going to the store and people who have been afraid to show their racism are getting nastier and nastier to you. And you're worried about your kids and you're worried about your sister. And can she just go to Walmart and get back into her car without somebody saying something to her? And you spent so much of your life energy just trying to hold it together. And this is a big deal for us just to be able to get some peace and have it for a reset. And the character of the country.
And can you play the attachment?
That's the quote or the other video.
I'll put it in the chat with the video, not the link, the attachment.
The last video, the attachment. The last video, got it, okay.
Put in the chat what you guys think about what you
from stealing the election from him. But the super liberals are out in the streets partying and celebrating and dancing like they're excited about Joe Biden, which they're not.
Back for no reason. A lot of people, it's a good day.
Glory. Guys, I ain't never seen nothing more embarrassing than that. You have a grown-ass man crying on TV.
Okay. So I'm bringing my authentic self. I'm going to be transparent and very honest. That was the CNN commentator Van, I think his last name is Jones. He was reacting to Biden winning the presidency and Trump being out of office, right? And my reaction to this, I was so angry. I was like, this bitch, why are you on national TV crying like this? These people already think that we're this, that, and the third. And I was so upset, right? But later on, I was like, man, why was that my reaction? This man was boohoo crying. I see somebody put in the chat, I think it was sister, that's too much sniffling for me. It was a lot. That man broke down. And let's do away with, because some people say he had ulterior motives and, oh, well, look at where Biden got us now. Let's just talk about that raw emotion he was feeling in that moment, right? He talked about how he felt as a parent, how he feels like being a good person and character will come out now, racism, truth, immigration, vindication for suffering, people unable to breathe, not only George Floyd. I mean, that was a lot to make you cry, right? But he was ridiculed, and even by me. So if we can't in one breath say that we're creating a safe space and we want for men to get emotional, and then even if they go a little overboard, ridicule them for it, right? So I want to know your thoughts. So hands up, Louise. And it's 7:33, by the way. Let's address that first. It's 7:33. Thank you for everybody who has to go. We're going to drop links in the chat. So again, please consider subscribing and joining us on a regular basis. You can always watch the replay if you join the Facebook group. Have a good day. And I just need hopefully just a few more minutes. We have 3 shares. We're going to cut it off at Catherine. And I have one more slide. That's okay, Abby? That's okay, everybody?
Sure, go with it.
All right, come on, Louise.
All right, thank you for this. So I didn't have an issue with him crying. I was pissed off that he was crying for flipping Biden. That's what I was pissed off at. I'm like, Biden ain't our damn savior. Okay, why are you crying for this damn white man who sleeked his butt in on the back of Obama? He really ain't doing crap for black people up in there, really. So I was pissed off more for that from a African-centered perspective. I appreciated that he had no issue with showing his emotions. I just wish he would have been showing his emotions for a more really conscious thing. Like, for example, Cory Booker. I just want to say quickly, Cory Booker, if I remember correctly, when the sister was being signed in as a judge, I think he showed some tears and he was all wonderful and beautiful and emotional. And I loved that because he was building up that sister and he was showing emotion to say, I love that you're here. And I think he cried a little bit. So that I loved. This crap from that guy crying for Biden now. I didn't care that he cried. I care that he cried for Biden. Thank you. I'm complete.
All right. So again, let's separate from that and just focus on the raw emotion. Because I hear you. And I know that we're not, listen, we cannot go there. Okay. It's 7:35. We're talking about just him being able to express his opinion and cry on national television. Short and sweet, people. Teresa.
Oh, peace and blessings, Jimmy. I think this is what our problem is. Why men have so much rage is because they can't express themselves without somebody saying that they're, that they're a girl or they being, like a bitch, whatever. But it's sad because we're raising up men to be rage, and when they start doing stuff that's raging, then we're like, oh, why they doing it? No, because you tell them that they're not a boy. Like I was with my family the other day, and one of the little boys fell, and they was like, don't cry because you're a boy. And I wanted to say, shut the f up, mother effers. But I didn't, because I'm trying to go at a peaceful way. But am I going to talk about that later on? Yes, I am. Because what does that mean? You can't cry because you're a boy, and that's stupid. That's a stupid thing to tell your child. That's a stupid thing to tell your boy child. And I just feel like we need to change the perspective about telling a man, if he cries, that he's a girl. Many men probably go home at night and cry, but when they be open? No. And if they cry, then it's a problem. And we got a problem. We got problems that we need to get our shit together and stop putting all of this sissy thing out. You're a sissy if you cry because you're a man. It's ludicrous, and we need some help. And I'm complete.
Thank you. Brandon.
Yes. So I saw that particular video also, and what I appreciated his share, his emotion, because if you listen to it carefully, what brought on the emotion wasn't that Joe Biden won. It wasn't that Donald Trump was out of office. This black father was able to look into his daughter's eyes and say that being a good person matters. And as a black father, there's been conversations where I've had with my daughter say, hey, listen, make sure that you're always honest, tell the truth, be a good person. Even though it may not be rewarded by society, but to be able to look at your child's face and to say, listen, everything that I've been teaching you, this actually has a point, it has a reason, and we're able to see that there's some kind of change. Is it what we want it to be? No. But this man, he was able to identify to his daughter and say to her, listen, all the lessons that I've been teaching you in life, it matters. And so I think for him, as a father, as a black man, to be able to show those raw emotions on TV, I think that it was healing and a release for a lot of other black men who may have those kind of relationships with their children, but don't know how to voice it or how to be able to express that being a good person matters or having these good characteristics matter. And so I think that was a connection with him and his daughter that the world was able to see, and not him responding to Joe Biden.
Thank you. Sweetness.
Peace and blessings, love and grace extended to the community this morning. Thank you so much for Thank you so much for the conversation. I am so grateful and excited about the voices that were on the call earlier. The men have excited me, and I'm so grateful for them. So, Mr. Jones, our beloved, he's our beloved, doing a lot of good work out there. Grace, I extend to myself this morning, grace, fresh grace. And when I extend it to myself, then I can extend it outside of myself. And he is outside of myself. And not to get into the habit of watching things in pieces out of context. No matter what, I'm saying to the community, let's exercise that muscle of grace and compassion, no matter the skin tone of a person, no matter. So that's what I want to say in regards to watching that. And I have a son that allows himself to be vulnerable like that. And I can so appreciate it. And what another thing I appreciate is that I can be around him and not say, "What's wrong with you? You're crying." You know, we say, ask people, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm appreciating that afresh just from watching that video and listening to the response from the community, the audacity that I would have to say someone's emotion is too much or not enough. So I'm going to sit in the grace that I've extended to myself and then know that I have the power to give it outside of myself to other people. Again, thank you all the men that showed up today. I got your back.
Thank you so much. And it's so true, because I know this is something I definitely had to change about myself. Check. Tracy Ann.
Hi everyone. Peace and blessings. I just wanted to say that these conversations are very triggering. Martine, every time you have a session, I find myself being very triggered, and I had to really ask myself why today. And I think it's because I've come to a conclusion that we're all just souls at the basis of everything. And I feel like I'm almost like going backwards in my thinking when I have to think about things on such a in such a generalized way, in such a way where we are like ascribing certain things to masculine or feminine in a way. And I understand that it's a process for us all. And maybe, you know, God is bringing me back to this type of thought process so that I could evaluate how I think about it now and just reassess. I think reassessing is really good for everyone, for the soul especially. And so like I'm disturbed that you know, Van Jones was being vulnerable and being honest and stating his truth, and that, you know, now he's up for ridicule and up for, oh, why is he crying? And when Sweetness said that, you know, us coming to assumptions like just by looking at a tidbit, and we may get a sense of something and it may be placed out of context, you know, that's so true, because we're not God and we don't see everything. And something that I do know, I don't know when exactly that video was, I'm assuming it was within the last year and a half, 2 years, but I do know that he was recently going through a divorce as well. And so I can't imagine a Black man on CNN with the level of education and aspiration that he has, especially in politics, the amount of racism that he must endure. And also he seems like a good soul. I don't know him, but he seems to always be saying like things that are upright and just a great example of a man. And I can't imagine the level of abuse he must endure, because I know that if you try to do good in this world, you know, a lot comes against you. So with that being said, I'm complete. I just hate that we are going into all these generalizations, and I understand it's a process. And but I do appreciate the conversation because it's eye-opening to me, and I know others as well. And And I wanted to say one more thing. Charlemagne said something on Breakfast Club, and he said that when something like when a white person does something, white people don't go, "Oh my gosh, he's a bad example for all of us." But we do that as Black people. We expect like one person to just be this example for us all, and it's just not fair. We're all human at the end of the day, and we all have emotions, and we're all, we all deserve grace, like Sweetness was saying. So I appreciate it, and I'm complete.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Your share really means a lot to me, because that's that gain consensus part. And one thing about this session, I really don't want anybody to walk away with is that the session is meant to generalize, because that's the total opposite. I hope everybody at least understands that part. Let's stop generalizing. Let's stop basing things on just gender. But thank you for opening up your mind and giving me a chance. I appreciate that so much. That means the world to me. Thank you. Shawnee.
Yes. So I can't come on camera right now, but thank you, sis, for what you shared before me, because I was going to say a couple of things about this. So context is everything. And just thinking about the time in history when Van was sharing, not so much about Biden, as was said, what Brandon said as well, but we came off of 4 years of a lot of turmoil, a lot of infighting, a lot of tragedy, COVID, all kinds of things were happening during the time that Bam was speaking in his personal life and then also in the world. And as a Black man that often had a dissenting voice in the midst of a political arena that was like a circus, I don't believe that moment in time was what he was crying for. It was a compilation of feelings, thoughts, experiences that culminated in this cry. And, we forget sometimes that with human beings, if you get overcome with emotion, there's just a lot of buildup. It's like a container, a lot of pressure, and then it pops. And so I just feel like if he had a choice, he might not have emoted on in such a way in that particular
all the way
space.
up. Look where you're going if you can't see, or you need to readjust your seat.
Okay, somebody having a moment. Just once again, context. I think that if he had a choice, he may not have expressed on that level. But I think each of us have had moments where the emotions just bubble up and they start to come out, and it's like, oh my God, what is happening? And it just overflows, and you before you know it, you're crying, or you're rageful, or you're laughing, when you want to control that. So that's a human dynamic. The other thing that I want to say, and this is from my frame as a psychotherapist and a healer, when the emotion for a situation does not necessarily match what the situation calls for, and I'm really kind of not skeptical, like tiptoeing into what I'm about to say. I'm not saying he's wrong for what he shared, but when the emotion sometimes, or the level of emotion doesn't necessarily match up with the moment in time, it's historical in nature, meaning it's something that has been a buildup or maybe repressed from before, and then it erupts out. And for me as a clinician, when I run groups or I'm doing an individual session, when that happens, it's an opportunity to go back and fetch something that hasn't been addressed. So I just want to put that out there.
Thank you. And as far as context, I thought I prefaced this well, but my point is the context to me doesn't even matter, because it's just him being allowed to express his emotion no matter what was going on. But after ridiculing him and then listening to him specifically, because he stated everything except for COVID, right? Parenting, the whole thing with his daughter. I said this: racism, immigration, vindication for suffering. I thought that was enough to make somebody cry, especially when you're a CNN commentator. That's in your face all the time. You're overexposed to these things. But again, the who, what, when, where, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like Sweetness said, giving grace. That was the reason why I shared the clip. And let's go to the last slide.
Martine, before you transition, I wanted to say something really well, I think is important. Context does matter. Because it's based on the question that was asked, because we can be very, very elementary in our thought as humans. It's just something that, so the question that led up to what he shared with human beings, it's like that question led to that. So, and then once again, his role and all this other stuff. I'm not saying that that's right. I love when folks emote and express themselves, but thinking about the arena and the question that led up to that, then folks did what they did, said what they said. So I just wanted to, add that piece.
Okay, but I just mean it in the sense of regardless of what the reasons, regardless of the context, because we say he could, but why can't he just cry? Even if it was him really truly crying about his divorce. That's what I mean when I say at the end of the day, the context doesn't matter, because we will never know what he was really, really feeling. But it's just the fact that he went there on national TV. Can you bring up the last slide? Because last time too, another thing that we brought up, and I said that I would look it up, is the suicide rate. And I think we had said that suicide rate is highest in Black men. And that's not the case according to statistics. Again, grain of salt, take it with a grain of salt. But and I thought white men were the leaders in suicide, but it's actually Native Americans. And then it's white men, and then Hispanics. But the statistic that I think that people are pointing out is the increase in suicide is highest in Black men, and it is appalling. Okay, suicide in Black men is increasing nearly 80%. 80%. That's a lot. That's a lot. So again, I asked you guys earlier, what is it that we can put in place to really, outside of woo, make just the world a safe space for men, right? I believe that because of the changes in gender roles and just career and stuff, because men usually kill themselves over career, right? Or if they started, let's say, like a campaign and it failed, we're seeing a lot of suicides behind that stuff. But what can we put in place? I know my nephew is part of a men's group. Nephew, if you could come off really quick, if you're still here, and just talk about the men's group, and just drop in the chat, and everybody, you can download the chat. If you hit the little three dots, the menu button, you can save the whole chat to your computer or your phone. Well, I don't know about your phone, but definitely your computer. Harlan, are you still here? Can y'all help me out with that? Is he here? I know that he talks about this all of the time, and he says how much the men's group that he's a part of has really increased his quality of life, because they hold each other accountable. They make space for each other. I know we have a lot of women's rite of passages, but what about men's? I know we do have a few men's rite of passages, but I don't know like what they address. I just feel like we as a community need to create these spaces and these outlets for men, especially seeing that statistic. So
Harlan is not here. I don't see your nephew either. What's his name again? Your nephew?
His name is Harlan. That's Harlan.
I didn't hear you.
That my nephew is Harlan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Quasi dropped a link in the chat. Guys, please take this seriously, because I know that the guys that I know that who are part of these groups, they say it's character building. It's just a godsend. And at the end of the day, I just wanted to leave you guys with this. I felt like we did accomplish atonement. I appreciate the men saying that they appreciated the women taking accountability. I know the men have taken accountability over the last few sessions. And let's, continue creating these spaces so we can have these conversations and move on more productively. And that's all that I have for you. Thank you so much for finishing out the role play series with me. Please remember, let's put individuality first and have some flexibility in the gender roles. the point of this session to begin with. I appreciate you all for helping this to evolve into something that I could never dream. I appreciate y'all for showing up and inviting people. I love you, and until next time.
Awesome, Martine. Thank you.
All right. If you take this seriously and you like, you know what, I want to trailblaze some shit with Martine, contact me. Phone number 713-929-9971. My Facebook, Touch.the-Rebellion. That's for the nonprofit. And you can email me about anything. Free parent packs to teach, to help you start the conversation about child sexual abuse prevention with your kids. To you guys were talking podcasts. Anything you want to do, you can call me, email me. The email is info.touchtherebellion@gmail.com. Take a screenshot. They're also dropping it in the chat. Love offering and donations. Ooh, I put in a lot of work for y'all over these past few weeks. I feel like so relieved that we're wrapping up the last session. Zelle or QuickPay, soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com. Cash App, $Spirit of a Woman. There's a link there too. They're dropping the links in the chat. And if you want that donation to come to me, if you felt like, oh, let me throw her a little dollars, tip her a little bit, use code #615MM, #615MM, because this is the 615th episode of the Wake Up Everybody program. That's amazing. This is all you, Keofu.
Okay, no problem. All right, so you all can, in addition to giving Martine some dollars, you can also give some dollars to Woo by the month. And you can choose from $25 to $50 to $75 to $100. And there's links that relate to each of those numbers. So those links are dropped in the chat. You can click on the link of your choosing and then set it and forget it. And there you go.
I love this, set it and forget it. Yeah, and let's bless the wonderful admin team too. They volunteer their time and they put in a lot of work to make this go. Join us on Sunday. You get a break Friday and Saturday. Join us on Sunday for Hustle and Motivate. Everybody Gonna Eat, facilitated by Chantel Gamble, the wonderful, beautiful, awesome Chantel who holds down. She keeps us together. So please join us on Sunday for her. Guys, register, please. Let's start attending these sessions regularly. We need more men in the community showing up every day.
Okay, so new members, thank you for joining us today. Join us Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. Keep coming back. If you're new, drop it in the chat so we'll know and you can get your love from the community. You deserve it. So say I'm new, whether in the Zoom chat or the Facebook chat. Welcome you.
Welcome, welcome.
5 days a week, you can find us here on Zoom and on Facebook, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 7 to 8:30, and Monday and Wednesday, 7 to 7:30. If you want to receive a text alert to wake you up in the morning to say, get up in here, type 74121 in the to section where your telephone number goes, and Woo Nation in the comment section, press send, and that's it. And be prepared to receive automated text alerts. We have swag. You can get yours here, bit.ly/Boo swag. So many things to choose from. And it's someone said, I think it's Tiffany, she says it's always gift giving season. So if you have yours ready, it's now time to get something for somebody else. So you have a thermos, you have a mug, you have a laptop sleeve, you have a bag, you have a journal, and a mask. T-shirt and a sweatshirt, and all those things like go perfectly to get fit into that bag. So just get everything. Good, get everything. bit.ly/Boo swag. stay in touch. You'll need to register in order to find out who's going to be present. And you also will be in the know because you're going to receive emails. Sometimes the emails are special offers from presenters. So you want to be in that, right? bit.ly/wake up movement, and do that every week. We have a Facebook group and a Facebook page. The Facebook group is where we are streaming live right now. And you want to be accepted into that group. If you're not already, bit.ly/woo community. Fill out a little form and then get accepted, and there you go. We are also have a fan page, bit.ly/Woo Nation. Woo Nation is uppercase. Go there, like it. And you can also check us out on Instagram. Wake up at the tag is at Wake Up Everybody Virtual. And YouTube is bit.ly/Woo on YouTube. And if you would like to send us an email saying whatever is on your mind, giving thanks, giving suggestions, you would type in info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. And today being Thursday is the time to be invited to be part of the volunteer team. So we're all of who you see on here are volunteers. We're not getting paid. We are looking for support so that we don't have to overwork. And there's so many things to do. And we need you. So info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. So that you, and ask the question, what is there for me to do? Or I'd like to share. I'd like to give back. Or I can do this. I have this talent, this skill. Everything from finances to typing to talking to marketing. Oh, so many things and more. All right, so at this point, I'm going to take down the slide. I'm going to ask you all to unmute yourselves, and I'm going to give Martine a love shower for this wonderful presentation, this wonderful series, and for her braveness.
Thank you, Martine.
Thank
you.
you.
Martine,
This
for
is
the
so
great
nice.
Thank you, Martine. Thank you, thank you.
Have a great day,
Put
family.
in work. Thank you.
Thank you, thank
For real
you.
one.
Thank y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all. I love y'all. Love y'all.
Thank you, beloved. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody. Have a good week. I love you more.